Hi, my name is Ryan with Artisan Armory. I'm going to be talking about Frankenstein swords today. Swords that are pieced together. They don't require any casting or any forging whatsoever. Anybody can do it. It's easy to do. I've got some Frankenstein swords here that I put together. There's a door handle and a bed frame. You can see it here in its rough form before I pieced it together. Also some more door handles. I used a drill to drill into it to put brass rods in. All this stuff you can find at a scrapyard, and brass plates, they're very common, and all you need is a flat bar. It's common to find a stainless steel flat bar, also aluminum flat bar, copper bus bar. All these things can be worked to make a beautiful piece of art. It's very common at every scrapyard. You can collect these things to make your own Frankenstein sword. It takes less time than you think. After I get better at it, I can usually make a sword within a few hours if I don't have to do much thinking. Also, this is like a coat hanger that I've collected. A copper pipe. It's all stuff that you'll find commonly. Anything that looks like it may look good on a sword, I would collect it at a scrapyard. Set it aside if you can, and if you can piece it together, it doesn't take a lot of work. It takes a little imagination, and you can make a beautiful piece of art out of it. This was made out of a copper bus bar. These pieces on the side here, made out of a piece of electrical bronze. You can see, and all I did was cut it down the center. Whoops. Cut it down the center with a sawzall to make each side for the hand guards. Cut a groove in it with, well, we'll go over that. And it fits right up on there, and you can rivet it in to make these hand guards. Also, it's naturally got a hole in it to where I could put these deer antler points in it, and just making it out of a copper bus bar, and all I needed was that electrical piece, which I cut in half. This comes off a welder, like near where the contact points are. It helps constrict the copper. I'm not sure what you'd call it, but these are just pieces you can find anywhere. This looks like the TV copper wire that comes out of a TV. It's wound up in the back. Sometimes it's harder to find bronze or brass in plate form. This here I found as a pipe, and I had to cut a section off of it. Well, I got the pipe right here. I had to cut a section off of it, so I did do, I guess, a little forging to hammer it flat in order to make this blade. But I really didn't heat it up. All I had to have was a sledgehammer to hammer it down. I used sanding pads to sand it into shape. I've got a Dremel here that will Dremel in the images, and then a polishing pad to polish it up. It really didn't take a lot of work. I've done it all within a short amount of time. I found these pieces at a scrapyard. I use commonly door handles as handguards, but a lot of times in these cases I'll use decorative pieces that they make chandeliers, things like that out of, and I kind of just cut into them, make them to where they'll fit up on there. There's many different ways you can fit them on there. You just have to use your imagination. And many of them make good hand guards. I'll collect and save anything that I think looks like it's good to go on a sword. So there's that. This is just a copper pipe. I had a little character to it. I saved, when I cut out the brass piece, I left the tang. I slid that pipe up on there, and this piece here on the bottom naturally fit up on there, come out of some sort of candle stick, candle holder, and it was round, but I mashed it down. This aluminum bronze did come in the plate form that it's in. It's a little thick, The sword's a little heavy, but it still looks good. It still looks good hanging on the wall. These are also off a chandelier or a candlestick or something of that nature. And I wrapped this handle with leather, give it a little character. These are some of the knives that I've made out of stainless, aluminum, copper, brass, bronze, just whatever I can find that I like working with. You can work with steel of any sort, or even plastic or wood if you wanted to make something out of that. Not particular about what I work with, but I work with a little bit of everything. And if you're ever working with brass, though, be careful about wearing something, some respiratory protection. For you don't want to breathe in. There's usually a little bit of lead in brass and bronze, and some zinc as well. So be careful and protect yourself if you ever work with that. Here's a piece of titanium I found at a scrapyard. I did have to do some forging on it to hammer it down flat in order to make a knife out of. It wasn't a whole lot of work. Every once in a while you can find titanium in flat bar form, but it's not nearly as common. I've only found it a handful of times at scrapyards. Most of the time what I find is either stainless steel flat bar. You'll find a lot of copper bus bar. I kind of shaped this one up and then haven't done anything with it yet. And aluminum flat bar, it's very common. These are some of the pieces that I've collected. All you need's the flat bar to make your blade, or a bus bar. Other than that, all you got to worry about putting together is the hilt all together. The hand guards, the grip, the pommel, anything like that. Anything that looks good, I have saved it, held on to it, and a lot of these pieces that are about hand size, good grip and size, will fit together, and you can make a variety just with the same pieces of swords characteristics. Easy to do. Your sword character, and you won't have to worry about spending a whole lot of money. It takes a little time sometimes, and you can make just about any piece fit together with any other piece to characterize your sword. If it's a little loose, you can also drill into a piece of wood, have a piece of wood to go on there to help fit it to size to where it'll work with whatever you get. You can make it work. Here's my table saw. Small, simple, it's not worth very much, but it does a good job, and if it gets overstressed it'll cut off. It's got a safety protection on it. The blades I use are, well, this is a Norton blade made for cutting metal. It only takes a few minutes. You can cut all sorts of metal with it. It cuts titanium fairly easy as long as it's not a thick plate. I've had some where I've had a hard time cutting it because it was too thick and too wide, but it will cut just about any metal that I've had so far, and it only costs $2.95 at the bottom dollar where I live. But you shouldn't spend more than $10, maybe $10–15 on a blade like this, and it'll give you you can make several swords out of it before it's exhausted. So it ought to last you a good long while, as long as you're not cutting anything extremely hard like titanium. Now I can wear one of these out with a titanium plate with just one cut, but most of the time they hold up pretty well, and it's well worth the money. So we'll go on to my next video here in a little bit and start cutting a Frankenstein sword, and probably work with stainless steel or something that's more common like that. And thank y'all for watching.